Don't do it, Meep! Don't do it! Don't open that door, Meep! Oh, no. Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to Oxygen Not Included. So today, we're going to focus a little bit in on food, and we're going to explore a strategy that one of my Patreon supporters over here, Emily, actually talked about over the weekend. And that is, if we have several breeding ranches like this that are full of pips, and then we let the pips go in our base, we could potentially end up with a lot of food. So just for reference right now, let's take a look at how many critters I have. So looking in here, we can see right down here at the bottom how many domesticated critters we have and how many wild critters we have. Currently, we have 69 domesticated critters and we have 100 wild. So over the next, 25 to 100 cycles here, we should see these numbers continue to rise. Now, you can see that this is currently on a steep incline because we've recently built up a couple more ranches over here. And what I'm doing here is I'm just adding auto sweepers in order to get those eggs out of here. So that way we can get the most pips. Essentially, these are not going to be cramped and they should hopefully not be glum. So that way they can keep kicking out more and more eggs and increasing the population. Now, the idea behind this strategy, as Emily was talking about, was that these pips go out there and they try to survive the best they can, but most of them will not survive. Eventually they will just kind of die off and turn into meat, and therefore we can convert that into lots and lots of barbecue. So the other thing I'd like to work on today here is actually cooling down the temperature of this base. And what I hope to do here is combine my two cooling systems together for long enough to actually drive down the temperature inside of here. Now, we've kept it to right around 30 degrees Celsius, which is good because it came down from about 40 at one point, so a couple hundred cycles ago. So that's good, but it's still on the borderline of being too hot for some of the mealwood I have. Now, hopefully this pip strategy works out and I don't even need mealwood at all because everybody just eats barbecue all the time, which just sounds amazing. So what I'm going to do to try to cool the base down over here is I'm just going to pipe these two together. So this one's going to lead into here, which is full of water that's currently at about 11 degrees Celsius. I've increased that temperature from sub-zero to right around 10 degrees Celsius, so as far as its control. So the dupes can run on this and they can take advantage of this steel thermal Aqua Tuner that I have built up over here and the steam turbine that's on top of it to kind of recuperate some of that energy as well. The idea is that this is far more powerful than what I have already over here because this thing is limited by just how much temperature I can actually suck out of this system up top. So it's good, but it's nowhere near as powerful as an actual steam system here that's hooked up to a steam turbine. This is just far more powerful. Okay, so if we take a look at the temperature overlay in the top right here, this is actually up to 40 degrees Celsius. That has a lot to do with just how much hot ceramic I brought in the last episode here, which looks fantastic. It's just a little toasty. And then in the top left, we're up to 33 now as well. The liquid hasn't been cycling for a while, so that heat, hasn't been removed. So that gives us some sort of idea. You can see just how hot it is in there. It's pretty much hot. And this right up here is just borderline too hot. It's just over 30 degrees, even though I'm trying to keep it cool, which I can't because this system is not running. But now we should see that liquid here that's nice and cold is going to run over this spot. So whenever I can kick out more oxygen, it should be relatively cool. So we should see that, yes, the temperature here is dropping. That also means I want to get rid of this sort of intermittent system right here. I don't want that to happen anymore. Okay, so just removing one bridge from that arrangement, which I think was just going from here to here. And now that allows that to run back like this. So it's every single tile instead of every other tile. So there we go. The water's flowing nice constantly. And hopefully what we should see here is the temperature starts to drop down. Okay, another project that my dupes are continuing to work on is this one down here where we are refining iron into steel, and we also have gold amalgam into gold, copper into copper, and all of that fun stuff. There's a good amount of ceramic that I'm still trying to lay down for a lot of these pipes. But you can see that for the most part, we are starting to build up the amount of refined materials we have down here. So over here, let's see here. What do I have? Some good aluminum. Right down there, I have a bit of copper. I would like to actually build more copper, so let's see. Do I have that primed? Yes, I do. What I don't have primed is the thing that's going to keep this cool up top here. Now, I did hear from the comment section over here that there was potentially a bug where the power station doesn't actually tune up the steam turbine. You don't get the additional power out of it. So I'll have to keep an eye on that to see if that's true or not. I know that the steam turbine puts out a variable amount of power depending on what the temperatures is below here and other factors. So maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. We'll have to see. There's also another recommendation to use the heavy watt conductive wire and make it out of lead, because you can see we have a lot of lead. We have 49,265, which is a lot, especially when you compare that to the heavy watt wire over here, which works off of unrefined metals. You can see that I just don't really have massive quantities of that stuff, and that's mostly because a lot of it's being used up for A, refined material, or B, using rails that I'm transferring material on. That's actually very expensive for the wires, the other wires. So that was actually a good recommendation, something to keep an eye on there. I might actually use the heavy watt conductive wire over the heavy watt wire now that lead is available to me. And I think one final thing that I have to pay attention to here is the amount of carbon dioxide I have in this base. It seems to be building up faster than I can get rid of it, just using these oxyferns whenever they actually get a little extra water. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a carbon skimmer down here just to get rid of that. So I can set that up right down here. And that should get rid of some of the carbon dioxide. And I can also set that up on a little bit of a Atmos switch, just so that I don't drop the pressure too much, because I still do want some carbon dioxide right down here. Oh my gosh, look at all the pips. Look at them. They're all over the place. Now I do have a fair amount of arbor trees up here, so that makes sense. We can also see that these mealwood trees that were a little bit too hot are actually now cool enough to operate. So that's cool. Take a look at the temperatures here. There's actually a really cool spot right there, about 21 degrees Celsius. Perfect. That's what I like to see. Temps are coming down. I got rid of all those heavy watt wires over here, so that should give me some more resources. And then I can connect to all of this. There we go. And we'll see how that goes. Aha! We've researched the gas range. Very nice. All right, so where's a good spot to have cooking? So this is actually a pretty good spot for cooking, in that it's very, very close to where I have my Great Hall here. The problem is that my Great Hall is not large enough at the moment to handle all of my dupes. So I think I got to work on it just a little bit. The other thing is I don't really need this to be a nature reserve anymore. If I can maintain it, great, but it doesn't need to be a nature reserve. That should really just be an extension of my Great Hall. And then we can have our food like right next to our food. It's like one of those restaurants with the whole aquarium in it. Fancy. Those are always extra fancy, aren't they? All right, we'll move that sign out of the way so it doesn't need to be there. There you go. And we'll bring in more mess tables here. You can't really get to it. It needs to be 5 tall so that you can stack them too high, but oh well. Because if I go back to my skills right here, some of these dupes actually have kind of a low morale cap. 14 and 10 isn't that much, although other ones have a fairly high morale cap at 22. That's pretty high. 25 is pretty good. I don't know what Meep's been up to, but his morale is 32. What have you been up to, Meep? You're just really enjoying the fact that you let all the pips loose. They're just all over my base. Oh my gosh. So are they hungry? Actually, they're not hungry. They're glum, which means they don't eat as much. And it's only 2% per cycle, so it's going to be a long time before they lay an extra egg. However, the ones that are in the ranch, they are actually very accelerated with 17% per cycle. There's a lot of pinch row up here as well. Just enjoying that poop. All right, this works out good. We have a liquid pipe right here. I just plug it in. Boom, carbon skimmed. Oops, where are you going? All right, let's take a look at that wire. What I'm curious about is its melting temperature. Oh yeah, melting temperature, 327, so that's pretty good. It may not be something you want to put inside of a steam setup down here if that's like hooked up to something really hot like a volcano, but for just running it around your base, that's actually really reasonable. You definitely can build like a nice big grid using that heavy conductive wire. Now the problem with that is that its decor is going to be absolutely horrible. But that isn't always a bad thing. We should see that the decor should be relatively high, in areas where the dupes are actually going to be. Otherwise, they should be in an exosuit or something like that and not be too affected by it. Pips themselves, not only that, they give off plus 10. So look at these guys. They're offsetting a lot of the bad decor here. So nothing like a plague of pips to brighten up your day. Nice. Look at how many more eggs I have. Look at them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It just goes off the screen. I currently have 30 pip eggs in my base. Ooh, and I have a squeaky puffed egg. I should liquid dip this poop, shouldn't I? Oh my gosh, look at all the puffs. This is madness over here too. My base is just going to be overrun by critters, isn't it? Wait, what did I put down here? I put something down there. So one thing I could do here to crank up the amount of food that I have, besides apparently letting a bunch of these bad pips run around my base, would be to automate the incubator so that we could actually operate it. And if we can operate the incubator, then we can increase the rate that they actually will kick out more and more of these critters. Now you can use that and like a clock sensor in order to not run it all in the entire cycle. So right now this thing consumes, I think it's like 240 watts if it was operating, which adds up to be a lot of power throughout an entire cycle. But all you need to do is the dupe to come over there and actually apply its buff, and then it will increase the rate that it is going to incubate, and then you can unplug it, and that buff stays with that critter for the entire cycle. So that's a pretty handy way to get around it. Ooh, do we have any really good dupes here? Otto is great at farming. At this point, I almost need ranchers. I think farming is going to become obsolete. Nope. Gonna go with dirt. Oh my gosh, look at all the little poopers I have. Are you kidding me? How many critters am I up to now? Oh, I'm apparently still 69, but you can see the amount of wild critters went up from, what? No, it's still 100. What? All right, so let's take a look at my metal refining system over here on the left a little bit more. And the thing that I did last time, and it worked out pretty good, is I actually just used heavy watt wire for all of the heavy equipment down here. That way I just don't have to worry about it quite as much, which I think is probably a good way to go. And since we do have lead, it's actually quite a bit more affordable now. So rather than using refined metal to run conductive wire, we'll just get rid of that. So rather than running this conductive wire, which is relatively expensive for what it is, 25 for only 2,000 kilowatts, I can run heavy watt conductive wire for 20 kilowatts for 100. I mean, it's 4 times as expensive, but I can run it out of lead, which is great. But the thing is, I don't need a bunch of space taken up for power transformers and stuff. So I'm going to get rid of a lot of these power wires. This will still remain on its own grid because I need the liquid shutoffs to always be available to run. I had also mentioned in my last video here how I'd like to have a small little battery with like a small little power transformer so that it wasn't 2 tiles tall. And it didn't take long for me to get a couple of responses. Actually, Mine Meat right here actually was able to make one of those. It's small. They're working on the art to kind of update it a little bit, but it looks pretty cool. A tiny little battery. I like it. It goes well with your tiny little pumps and all of that small stuff that we end up using all the time. I currently don't have plans for it right now because I don't know where to put it, but thank you so much for actually making that mod. I didn't expect people to actually like jump on it so fast. There's actually other people talking about different things as well. Oh, hey, look, some of my dupes are cooking. That's nice. How's the temperatures doing inside of here? Ooh, yeah, they're starting to come down a little bit. Nice. Really nice. Ooh, it's almost frosty over there. It's 16 degrees. Good. That makes me feel better. Oh, what do we have down here? Yeah, see, I ran that to the wrong pipe. What I wanted to do was this. My bad. It's all right, that's where a plumber comes in to really fix these pipes. Take care of those. Look at all of these pips. Who's getting cooked? Kenzilla? Sorry, bud. All right, thank you, dupes. That actually went really fast. Okay, so the thing I want to make sure that I do here when I set up my power grid is that I want to make sure that the power wire actually runs through this power shutoff before it goes to the smart battery. That's really important. It allows me to kind of automate that so that the smart storage bin does not consume a ton of power. Because if it just sits there and runs the entire cycle, then it's just a big waste of power, especially since we have a lot of them. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I like that. And then we just connect it all together. Oh, yeah, that's gonna be nice. Bam, that's some juicy power right there. Very nice. So one of the strategies when it comes to power that I think is pretty cool, and I would like to try it sometime in my base, is to more or less have a heavy conductive wire of some sort. More or less run across the map from left to right. That way you can kind of just split out whatever you need from a power transformer and run it up and down. I saw somebody do that in one of their bases and they kind of recommended it, and it looked like it was an easy way to collect and distribute power. In the past, I've kind of created little blocks of power and then ran wires out of that. That gets crowded very, very quickly. So I think if I can use this nice amount of lead that I have right now and really just make a conductive wire that allows me to move that power around my the entirety of my base, I think that would make a big difference. Because you can see up here, I just have power that's really, you know, being consumed, but there's no way to really get it all the way from here to there, even though that's where I have surplus of power and that's where I'm consuming it. Or another idea is just to kind of keep the power systems independent. But what's the fun in that? All right, food. Food, delicious food. I'm kind of hungry myself. All right, Meep's got this pipe, thank you. Cancel. No, Meep, there's one more. Oh, never mind, it's working now. There we go. So that will consume the carbon dioxide that we have down there. Nice. We'll set that to be above 1,000. I think that's a good number. You can see that right now it's currently 1,700. It's going to take a little while for all of that carbon dioxide to flow from all the way over here down. Actually, that probably won't flow over here because it won't go uphill. So maybe I set this thing up over there as well. Or maybe I just don't worry about it. A lime. Okay, good deal. Okay, so as we can see here, the nature reserve is no longer functioning, but I do have the nature reserve up top. So the dupes still get the nature reserve bonus. What I want to do is have more dupes getting the Great Hall bonus here. So let's go ahead and turn this area down here into a Great Hall. I don't have enough for fancy mosaic tiles. Are you telling me, dupes, that we don't have enough ceramic? Hey, yo, puffs. Oh, these are dormant. That's what's up. Next activity, 45 cycles. Next activity, 20 cycles. Crap. But how much do we store up in oxygen down here? 30 kilograms? Okay, so here's the cool thing about what's going on down here. Since we have all of this oxalite built up, what we've done is we've compressed the gas in this area. But more than that, what we're doing here is maintaining a certain pressure, because the oxalite won't off-gas unless it goes above a certain pressure. And I believe that pressure for the gas is, I want to say 1,800 grams. That's the number that comes to mind. So the thing is, we've compressed a lot of this gas. We've got kilograms and kilograms and kilograms in a tile. And essentially these dupes will come over here and they'll breathe and they'll consume that oxygen. And as they consume that oxygen, this oxalite will then eventually kind of convert and refill the oxygen. So by having dense puffs in your base like this, if we have a spot where we just have excessive amounts of oxygen, we can compress it, but not only that, we can maintain a healthy pressure. So that's really fancy. Okay, so while my first thought was to dip this stuff in liquid so that it didn't off-gas, then now that I'm seeing how this stuff actually runs dormant and not dormant, this makes a lot of sense to put puffs over here just to maintain a certain pressure inside of an area. I like it. That is really cool. And you can see up here in the top left, we have 1,800 grams, which is just perfect. Look at that. Beautiful amounts of oxygen. Godzilla, dude, you're constantly on fire. Okay, so most of my ceramic is being used to build up these pipes over here, which is a really good use for ceramic. So I'm just gonna have to go with airflow tiles. Sorry, Kenzilla. I know. You're not having the best of days. You can blame me if you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get rid of all of these little plants down here. Boom! We're gonna slap in some nice mess tables, but we gotta decorate it up. We gotta make it fancy inside of here. So what do we got for furniture? Last time up here, I put a clock. Extra fancy. We also have a sapphire light bulb. You know what? Do we have some extra reed fiber? Oh, we have some reed fiber, but I'd really like to keep that for suits. Only have 8. Lame. I'm not going to waste that. We're gonna have to hang more plants. Sorry, dupes. This is the most boring way to actually give off decor. There you go. I mean, plastic is pretty precious to me too. I could do a landscape painting. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. So that actually comes from the mod as well. Boom. Let's see how well. There we go. We'll just build that up. It's a little something different. I like it. But most importantly, we gotta lay down that sweet, sweet wallpaper. Yes. Beautiful. And then we can get rid of that door, so because we're just going to run through it. So now what we should have here is a massive great hall. Hang on, give me a second. Once I put that door there, we should have a massive great hall. Oh, I could probably cheese this out if I really wanted to. Open up that door and like put a mess table right there, or right there. I know what you're saying, Brothgar, we don't have enough fancy lights in here. And you're right. The fancy lights are definitely worth it. There we go. I don't know why I'm still running that behind tiles because it doesn't matter anymore. Oh well. Old habits die hard, I guess. There we go. Who's off all by themselves over here? Micron. Alright, bud. Here's another clock for you guys just because it looks cool. And there we have it. A much bigger great hall. with a couple of unassigned tables, which means I can add more dupes. Oh no, we trapped a pip. We could wrangle it, or we could just turn it into meat. Poke shell, we're gonna wrangle that one. Wrangle. Open the door, please. Why is there a puffed in here? And why is there so many shine buttons? What? There's so many critters all over my base. Look at this madness. And a bunch of pissed off poke shells as well. What? There's even more down here. Alright. Yo, just wrangle all of these. Our dupes? Our poop is growing out of control. It's everywhere. I'm gonna rename this one Poop Shell. Alright. We're gonna make a run for it and try to sweep up everything inside of here. Good luck, dupes. We gotta be careful. Surprisingly, they're not attacking my dupes. Maybe they realize that's how they die. They're afraid for their life. Alright, dupes, how are you doing on the power? Oh, you're already done with it. So productive, jeez. And you can see the steam turbine is clicking on and it's doing its thing. Perfect. Although it needs to actually turn on a lot faster than it does at 50%. There you go. You can see inside of here we have 180 degrees Celsius, primed, ready to go. The only thing that I don't have is a bunch of this ceramic complete, so it's kind of holding me up a little bit. The carbon dioxide down here, what? How is any of that true? Oh. Well, there goes all my carbon dioxide. There's still plenty of it down here, though. Wow, look at all of that. Oh, it's coming from right over here. I'm going to have to deny access on this side. So the dupes can only go in and out over on the left, and that's where the carbon skimmers are. So the flow of the gas here is being pushed down and to the right, and that's where that carbon dioxide is coming out. That's why I have so much of it in my base. It also doesn't help that there's not a great way for the carbon dioxide to flow through all of this. And this is only 2 tiles wide, which is not very big, but it is building up down there, so. It seems like carbon dioxide is really becoming a problem in my base right now, so I'm going to go ahead and set up another one of these carbon skimmer systems over here. Ren's got it, and that way we can nip the problem in the butt before it gets out of hand, which it kind of is already starting to get out of hand, but it's not too bad just yet. So we can just do this number right there, boom. There you go, Ren, please don't entomb yourself. Okay, so the big question here is where do I want to do food besides that one spot I already have? What is up with this bubbles? +7 to medicine, right? But you're biohazardous. Worst duplicate ever. Kenzilla, dude, you're on fire again. Oh no. Kenzilla, man, you need to drink more water. You are absolutely on fire. You're dehydrated. I can see like smoke rolling out from underneath your bonnet there. And ow, it's hot. I don't know why it's so hot in that area. Okay, Kenzilla. I know, you're crispy. Could you come back over here to the crispy cot? There you go. And could somebody build us some copper, please? These pips over here, they're a little overcrowded. Oh my, look at how many there are. Oh, that's because I'm not auto-wrangling the extra. Whoops, my bad. Alright, some midway progress report here. Look at the temperatures. Ooh, down to 25 in some spots. It's starting to look pretty good. But at the same time, you can see that the heat has now kind of moved towards the center here. So I'm doing this at about the right time. This mealwood is just getting a little bit too hot. Alright, so I have a second carbon skimmer set up over here. So hopefully that brings the pressure down a little bit. Because you can see that they're slowly being overtaken by carbon dioxide. That's kind of compressing the gas and not allowing as much oxygen to flow in. The other thing is that I'm not drawing as much power out of this, which makes me think that these are not running as much as they could, which means I have to switch all the power stuff around. Okay. Okay, so one thing that's happened here is that I'm no longer drawing quite as much power from the thermal Aqua Tuner, so therefore the petroleum generator is not running as much. So therefore I'm not getting as much water out of it, which means I'm not producing as much oxygen, which is a really, really complicated way to kind of go about producing oxygen. But essentially what I'm getting at here is that the petroleum generator is probably going to be my main source of power for my base, or one of my main sources of power for my base, because I have so much lumber. If we take a look at the lumber down here, you can see I have 41,627 lumber, which adds up to be quite a bit of ethanol, and you can run that ethanol into the petroleum generator, which gives me extra water, which is really handy. But what I really need to be working towards is, rather than having the system all tightly coupled together just to make this kind of a self-sustaining little base, I really need to try to separate my power out now, so I can do ethanol in one location, run those petroleum generators when they need to generate more power, you know, scaling up the power grids and all of that system so that they're much less dependent on each other. Although this is a fun way to do it, it doesn't really scale up much bigger than what I currently have, unless I were to put yet another ethanol distiller or maybe yet another petroleum generator and try to figure out how to get the wires from here to wherever they need to go. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. So there's definitely some to do on the power end of things here. And I have lots of extra power right down here that's just waiting to go somewhere. Matter of fact, if you look at the temperature here, the steam is at 230 degrees Celsius. And you know what I think that means as far as the liquid is concerned? I think it just keeps running back around and around, yeah. But it's not plugged in, so therefore it doesn't actually do what it's supposed to do. Oh no. Okay, so what I'm currently in the process of doing here is connecting the power grid from here over to my cooler over here on the right, so that I'm not running these manual generators as much as I am right now. That way I can draw more power out of this system, therefore generating more water, therefore generating more oxygen. Not that I really need more oxygen, I could pretty much just open up the door or move any amount of this stuff over here to the left, but hey, it's many different ways. Oh, the poke shell and the pips fight! That's what's going on. I was wondering why it was hurt. Oh, that's interesting. See, there's a little bit of food right there. So if we open this up, we can have a battle. Check it out. We're gonna click that open just for the sake of it, because I'm curious. Oh, Meep clicked it open. All right, here we go. Pip versus poke shell. Dun-dun-dun-dun. See, they're going to run in there. Poke shells are looking at it like, what are you up to? Oh, of course they plant. Bam! Oh, 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 oh! Boo! That's brutal. They're just beating on all those pips. Boo! Oh, and they're fighting back too. Get him, bad pip. Get him. That's savage. Hey, I found a new way to get rid of your critters. This is going full Discovery Channel right here, isn't it? And yet the natural cycle is preserved. Forgiveness. Oh, it forgave you. You believe that? You guys should be really thankful. Oh, it. Oh no, more grooming over here. Catalina, I think you want out of there. I'm pretty sure Pancake King did not miss that opportunity to grab some food. Who is on fire? Kenzilla, again? What is with you and constantly combusting? You're the only one. Everybody else is completely fine running on these generators, but you, no, for real. Like, what am I gonna do with that guy? All right. Jeez. Freshly groomed and then mauled by a bunch of poke shells. Okay. Run, Bad Pip, the 6th. Don't let them catch you. Oh, they don't seem to mind the babies. That's nice. At least you let them grow up a little bit before you murderize them. All right, let's see how many critters I have now. We started at 69, and now I am up to, 94. However, the amount of wild critters I have has gone down from 100 to 85 or so. There is plenty of food to go around. Barbecue is plentiful. Wonder why these poke shells are not attacking my duplicates. That seems to be strange. Oh, there's a lot of them around. Dun 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 dun. Okay, hold up. You see all of this up here? That's just mealwood. We don't need that. And technically, if we deconstruct this or dig it up, then these pips can replant down here. They could also replant up there, now couldn't they? I don't know. Let's just see what happens here. They don't even seem pissed off anymore. They're just angry. What are you doing, poke shells? Catalina, I'm sorry, your job is ridiculous. I don't know how you're going to manage. just gonna be down here grooming 24/7. And these dupes are not good either. All right, we'll bring in a Volpup, but I don't want a Volpup. I don't know where it went, but attack it. Where'd it go? Oh, it's all the way down here already. Get it, dupes. Micron is so fast at attacking things. There you go. You're dead now. Oh! Okay, I reloaded. I reloaded the game and that reset the poke shell's frustration. Hold up. We're gonna play this slow. Oh! Poke shells murder baby pipsqueaks. That is just brutal up in there. Don't, now if you start attacking if you attack Meep, you're all dead. I'm just warning you right now. If you attack Meep, I'm gonna fill this with chlorine and that's how you're going to die. Liquid. Run, little pipsqueak! Run! Oh! Alright, well, I guess we can't leave that door open. For whatever reason, I guess they had their fix of murder. And, but if I leave it open, I'm just going to end up killing all of my pips. Now, do not attack my glossy Draco, poke shell. I'll feed you to a volcano. Slowly. You see, little glossy Draco? We're gonna bring you right down here and you're going to enjoy this nice area full of mealwood and pinch of pepper plants. And we're gonna brush you just like this before we, cut half your body off. You're gonna love it. All right, so have we connected the power yet? Yes. No. Yeah, no. Dupes. Could you finish that off, please? The pressure around here is kind of low. Suddenly, all of a sudden, our oxygen is gone. Mysterious. Duplicants, could you please, this year, today? This poor little pipsqueak's just like hanging out on the ceiling like a little vampire rat. Poor thing's terrified for its life. We'll see if a priority level 5 wrangle. What do you? Oh my God. Good luck, little pipsqueak. Who's on fire? Kenzilla, dude, you've got better things to do with your life. Hey, there we go. So now we connected the power. Yes, and that's running this thing over here, which, yes, is cooling the base. Right, nice cold polluted water, which means you're going to run, right? This little pipsqueak just realized that it's safe, and now that it's safe to come down and check out the arbor tree. This is clearly the smartest pip in the base. We're gonna call you Smart Pip. And we'll see if you can survive. You do need to be wrangled. I'll help you out. Priority level 9. Does anybody want to help out smart little Pip here? Smart Pip, come on! You can do it! It is priority level 9. Anybody? What's the errands like? Absolutely 0, apparently, available errands. Okay, here we go. Well, there we go. Fuzzbot will do it. It was at 0, that's why. There we go. We saved the Smart Pip. Live long, prosper, so that we can eat your children. Okay, so you can see how the metal refinery over here is actually preventing itself from getting too hot. So what's happening over here is that I don't have any available crude oil to run in the metal refinery, and that's because this up here is not able to dissipate the heat because it has nowhere to put all of that power. So the temperature inside of here is over 200 degrees Celsius, and therefore you can see that this liquid shutoff right here is actually just recirculating that around and around. And then this tank over here is just acting like an overflow. So it's currently containing 1,300 kilograms of crude oil at 279 degrees Celsius. So it's hot and it's just waiting for the temperature to drop inside of that loop. Ooh, hey, look, that's the, looks like ceramic showed up. Hopefully, we'll see. So what I need to work on here is really just getting a lot of the power over here out. How many pip eggs do I have now? 26. Okay, so that's less. Okay, so I'm going to run the power wire from this side all the way over here, which might mean that I can run that up into my base at some point. Well, I'll think about how I want to connect all of this. I'm not going to get to all of it today. We'll also see what is behind this neutronium right here. So this is some sort of geyser down there, and we'll see what we have. All right, dupes, you got a lot to build. Let's get to it. We're going to build up these ladders over here, run this wire right over there. Ooh, we got some more stuff down here. Look at this, even more geysers. 1, 2 that I can see right now. Then we also have this saltwater geyser right there. So that gives us a source of water. So we can tap into that, which actually would be pretty good, especially if we connect it with this oil well, which means I could build up a decent amount of crude oil. And all of that could be powered by refining it. How's the oxygen situation doing in my base? Well, there's still a lot of carbon dioxide. Let's crank this up a little bit. I had set those to 800, which seems maybe a little bit too high. The airflow in this base is not very good at all. So that's part of the reason why the gas is the way it is. I'm also using a lot of the suits, so some of the gas is flowing that way too. And the temperature, ooh, look at that. It's getting a little frosty up there, 20 degrees Celsius. 30s down here, still kind of warm down at the bottom. That's going to maintain its temperature, isn't it? But for the rest of it, yeah, all right, that's starting to look definitely a little bit better. Tapping into that extra powerful steam turbine over here and the thermal Aqua Tuner made a big difference. This thing can just run a lot more, and therefore it can cool a lot more to it. Not only is it cooling all of this, it's also cooling the stuff that's over here too. I mean, that's chilling out as well. Even though that's, what is it even cooling? The surrounding area? Maybe? It's still 60 C everywhere you go. Okay, so it looks like the temperatures are under control. Look at that. 20 degrees, nice. Some spots still take a little bit of work, but for the most part, the temperatures are definitely there. I have a ton of pips running all over the place. Let's take a look at how many I have in the base now. All right. So the numbers did go down a little bit there for a moment, but we're up to 102, it looks like, domesticated critters. The amount of wild critters is actually going down. We were up at 100 when we first started, but that is now down to 80. So I think things are kind of just switching around a little bit right there. The food situation is still pretty good here. We have lots and lots of barbecue, 94,000 calories right there. And we'll kind of see how this works out over time as these pips hopefully will at least do a little bit of reproducing. They should reproduce, but it's going to take many, many cycles for all of these somewhat wild pips to do their thing. The power down here is being built, so we're just about ready to fire up this oil well a little bit more to get some more crude oil in here. And we're still working on the ceramic pipes. They have a long way to go. Looks like I have a tank that might need to be switched out. That is actually getting a little bit too hot. All right, awesome. So I have this Aqua Tuner now. It's now going to cool off the area above it a little bit. So that's up and running. Doesn't quite have as much crude oil as I would like, but is what it is. I'll be able to put some more in there once I get some more crude oil over here to actually run around. Right now I just don't have a lot. So things are coming along over here, but yeah, there's still some work to be done. Over here is probably the biggest news. We found ourselves a cool slush geyser. Yes, that's right. So we're going to be able to get some polluted water out of this at a very, very cold temperature. Look at that, negative 10 degrees Celsius. So that will be a big help to our base if we need some more water. Right now we have a good amount of water. Mostly that's just coming out of the petroleum generator. But if I want to have another source of water to use in the oil well down here, well, I now have that. So we'll have to cover that here in the next episode though. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of Oxygen Not Included. If this looks like the channel for you, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. As always, stay awesome guys. Peace. Brothgar out.